I'm just...
Best son I've ever seen him have. Killed it.
Was it motivational speaking? Because I've seen him...
No, he did jokes.
Oh, usually every time I see him, he's talking about how he's almost killed in a drunk driving accident. And it's like, all right, well, this is uplifting considering everyone here is going to be driving home drunk later. So, like, I don't know if this is really what they need here at the Funny Stop. I don't know if you've seen...
All right. I am rolling. No rush.
Is it rolling and is it on? It's on. It's rolling. All right. Can you at least put a picture of yourself on this Golden Ox Studio screen?
They can see me back here. They can see me right now.
Oh, they can?
Yep. I switch between cameras.
Oh, so this is like your pound cake in the back over there.
Can I see what you look like?
And we're Bill and Mary.
You'll see it in post.
I'll see it in post.
Yeah.
He's going to superimpose himself. All right. I'm going to get started. All right. I'm going to try to keep this like it's 7:10. They don't start over there till like 8. What time they start over there?
A little after 8.
Yeah.
8:10, 8:15.
Well, we have to at least let them know that we're coming.
I did.
Oh, okay.
I did. Relax.
You're a pro, man.
I know what's up. All right. I'm going to do a little intro, say something about my sponsors, and then we'll get going. What's up? Welcome, everybody. Rock Bottom Podcast with Ray DeVito. I've got 2 funny comedians. Yeah, they're funny. I got Jeff Shaw, Cleveland legend, 2 dry bar specials, tours all over the world. Very funny dude. How are you, Jeff?
Great, Ray. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome, man. You're welcome, man. Thanks for being here. And Gheramy Demery, who's been on this podcast numerous times. Very handsome guy. How you doing, Gheramy?
I'm great, Raymond. How are you?
I'm fine. I can't see you. You're in the other room. I'm at the Golden Ox Studio in Cleveland, Ohio. So this is my last 3 podcasts, all in studio. So if you're listening on audio, the audio is going to sound amazing, right, Mr. Golden Ox?
You better believe it, buddy. You better believe it.
Golden Ox. This is Gheramy's studio. Also was his wrestling name.
Yeah.
The Golden Ox. He'd wear a gold mask, and he would throw frozen steaks at people.
Yep.
That was his wrestling move.
I was mostly wrestling with my demons up there, but
yes. Some people call it a penis, but they call it masturbation. He calls it wrestling as a demon. The demon seed.
I grew up religious. That's why I call it that.
The demon. The demon. That was his finishing move. He would he'd slap his opponents with his tiny little demon.
And I go, you better not come here again.
Then the little demon semen, and that's what they do. The semen would have to stay on him for 3 seconds, and that was considered a pin. If they wipe it off and they put it on Gheramy, then Gheramy would lose.
Why do you got to subject Jeff Shaw to this potty talk?
It is potty talk, I tell you.
So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Jeff Shaw, why are you so nice to everybody, and what are you hiding?
Well, I'm hiding the fact that I've been touring wearing Mitch Hedberg's jacket for the past 10 years.
You do have like a Hedberg look to you.
And the thing is I had Mitch Hedberg's look before he had it. Because he came around like in the 90s, and I had long hair in the early 90s. And I was doing this same type of material that he did, but then he came along and showed me how you can make weird, bizarre one-liners actually funny.
Heroin. Heroin is another thing he brought to the table.
Yeah, I know. That's
heroin.
That's why you won't see me on late night TV instead of heroin. I'm just Panera's is all I have right here. That's my poison.
The heroin of the suburbs.
Yeah. Before we move on, I do want to say this is not. I'm going to introduce my sponsors real quick, so I get that out of the way. Got to give a shout out to them. But Panera, for those of you that don't know, they're not a sponsor. But for $10 a month, you can get unlimited coffee at any Panera's around there. It is an insane deal.
And you know how you can get it for $4.99?
You told me. Don't tell people that. They cancel it, and then they let you come back for half price. They
beg you to come back for half price.
It's such a good deal. Yeah, it's such a good deal. But in New York City, because I hang at the one in Astoria all the time, in New York City, the Paneras, even though they do accept the $10 a month deal, and I still get the coffee, unlimited coffee, they do not advertise it. because literally homeless people will be like, I could afford $10 a month, and they will live in the Panera. They live in the Panera anyways. They do live in the Panera. Like, you do not want to use a Panera bathroom in New York City. There's literally just people sleeping in it. It's in New York City. I might sleep there next time I'm there because there's more heat there than the apartment I crash at. So I might sleep in a Panera. But yeah, that's a good deal. But my sponsors, I do want to, real quick, this will be the last time, because this is the second podcast in a row I wore their sweatshirt. LICK, Long Island City Kicks on Steinway. They gave me a free sweatshirt. And it's probably the coolest sweatshirt I own, so I decided to wear it twice. And it's cold outside here in Cleveland, Ohio today. So check them out on Steinway Street. And then also SilkCityHotSauce.com. Check out SilkCityHotSauce.com. I'm supposed to be getting my hot sauce. I need some artwork from Mr. Fred Harper, and we're good. But put in G-Hole, save 15% on everything. Jeff Levine and the boys doing fine things. And then also VictoryPose.com. I am wearing their deodorant, so if I smell amazing, that's what it is. Goat milk, deodorants, and soaps. It's fantastic. Put in code Raymond, get 15% off, and free shipping on your first order. All right, sponsors out of the way. All right, back to the thing. Yeah, no, did you ever get to see Hedberg?
Not live, no. I never got to meet him.
I never got to see him either, man. But yeah, I thought he was great. I was a big fan.
Yeah, he was incredible. And when I first started doing comedy, I started in '87, and my influences were similar. I was a big fan of Stephen Wright and Emo Phillips. So watching Emo Phillips on Letterman is what really kind of told me that, hey, maybe I can do this. I was a Rodney Dangerfield fan, of course, Andy Kaufman, Stephen Wright. But Andy
Kaufman overrated to me.
Really? I really
so
like
I get that he did it, and it was cool that he had people given the patience. But like he did have George Shapiro like as his manager, like in the back, like a lot of comics doing that thing, like the purposely not getting punchlines. I've seen that at a zillion open mics.
Right, but see, you're looking back at him after seeing the aftermath. I mean, like if you were like exposed to him back in the day, because back then it was completely new.
Let me retract. I think what he did, I thought he was brilliant, but he let a lot of shitty open micers that should never have done comedy think it was okay. Gheramy Demery, to get up there and never say a punchline.
Right.
I'm kidding. Jeremy's got punchlines. He's got two of them.
Well, you said open micer, and I know you're not talking about me.
But the funny thing is, my first time on stage, I was 12 years old, and in a sixth grade talent show, I had my own little version of Andy Kaufman's act.
Oh, really?
And so I won a bunch of like church.
What was his act? I thought it was just like Here I Come to Save the Day, like the Mighty Mouse.
No,
and Elvis.
The core of his act was the foreign man character. So he would go up and go, "Thank you very much. It's very nice to be here."
Latka.
Yeah, Latka.
From Taxi.
Yeah, I would like to do an impression of my Aunt Esther. Eat your vegetables, you bad boy. Thank you very much. I would like to do an impression of the Mr. John Denver. Far out. Thank you very much. You know, and then he would do. But when you're like 12 years old, 11 years old, watching the Saturday Night Live, I just really got it. You know.
So you just did impressions,
right? I did his act, but with my own jokes thrown in, and I won a bunch of, and now.
You were stealing jokes way back in the sixth grade.
Yeah, and now I'm doing Hedberg.
You hear that?
Yeah, and now
Jeremy's still stealing jokes all these years later.
And now I'm doing your jokes, and I can't get booked anywhere, man.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Please make them work somewhere. Yeah. Lord knows.
A lot of guys that come up to me, they go, "I'm stealing that joke." And I'm like, "Hey, if you can get my material to work, all the more power to you."
Yeah, please.
I can't.
Someone do it. You know what's interesting? Like, my parents, like, no one thought it was a big deal. I look back at it now. It was a pretty big deal when I was a kid. But I won they had a young authors contest, which I didn't even know. Everyone had to write a story at Lake Elementary School in Vermilion, Ohio. And I won Best Author. I didn't realize that. And then I met Beverly Cleary that wrote all the Ramona the Pest books. And then in fifth grade they had it, and I won it again for the whole elementary school 2 years in a row. And that was never looked at as something like my parents were like, "Yeah, that's awesome." That it was. And then I met John Fitzgerald, who wrote all the Great Brain books. But I wrote stories. You think that should have been more appreciated and encouraged by my family, but it's like, yeah, I just won a young authors contest 2 years in a row, and it like wasn't wasn't a big deal. Like they were more mad that we had to go to Columbus, and like, oh, I guess we're gonna drive down to Columbus,
But then
where
again-
we meet all the other kids that won their elementary schools in
In
Ohio.
a different family, that might have been a big deal. The way that you painted a picture of your family growing up, that you're lucky to have been invited indoors.
yeah.
I hear some stories about your childhood.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm glad you're not shooting up right now during this interview.
Yeah. All right, Jeremy. Yeah. No, it was definitely different. Like
Yeah.
both when my parents did, like when my mom passed away, she was definitely felt bad about a lot of the way that she died. I was 28, and she felt bad about a lot of ways she was to me when I was growing up. Like she did feel a little guilty for not being as like inclusive, which is fine. It's all right. I mean, I love my parents. Are both dead. Speaking of dead parents, not to bring up Jeff's father, who I was at the wake the other day. Your dad just passed away. Condolences.
Thank you.
You had a better relationship with your parents, and by the way, I love my parents. But because like I wasn't so welcome, I just didn't go. I didn't go home. And it ended up working out fine. Where my sisters were like home, never left the house. They still don't leave their houses. Where I would just go to school all day, and then I wouldn't come home. I would like go to play basketball at Cadell, or I'd go sell hot dogs at Cleveland Stadium. I like just didn't go home. So I would wake up and I was gone, and then I come back and just go to bed at night, wake up and go. So
Well, I think a case can be made that because you spent your entire life examining your relationship with your parents, like how come these families are like this and how come my parents are like this, it's kind of like put you on a path to comedy, because as a comedian, you're always looking
Yeah.
at things from different, trying to study things
Yeah.
and figure out why things are the way
and
they
I'm
are.
used to people not liking me. I'm used to people like I'm like you guys don't like me. Guess what? The people that live in the same house as me don't like me.
Yeah.
I'm used to this.
Yeah, you
You
call that,
think I'm obnoxious? They think I'm obnoxious.
you call that a boo? Let my siblings come in, they'll show you how to boo me.
Yeah. At least I'm not getting hit after this. Oh, it's funny because it's true. No, but I love my parents. So I mean, it is what it is. And the one cool, not that.
Well, my parents were very supportive. In
Yeah.
fact, my dad, the reason why my dad passed away is it was his way of telling me that I needed new material.
He's like, I'm done hearing this.
But he could have just, called me, but it was a lot easier for him to die than to figure out how to use that damn phone I bought him.
He's like, these jokes are killing me.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day. It's really weird, but
Yeah, you got taken advantage of by your dad dying. I was at the wake, and you were telling me the Plain Dealer is a newspaper here in Cleveland, Ohio. It's like, I don't know people that still use, but they, I don't want to. They take advantage of you when your parents die.
$1,300 for an obituary.
For an obituary.
Yeah, for $1,300,
For how many words?
I could have got him the cure.
Yeah, $39.
I could
My
have
dad would still be alive.
I could have got him around to chemo.
Yeah. And you said they charge by how many words?
Something like that. And the funeral director said, "Oh, well, your obituary was rather lengthy." And I said, "Oh, well, I'm sorry. I had a good father. And that yours just bequeathed you the family funeral business." But no, they were actually pretty nice there. But they told me that it was a little. So like, yeah, the longer. So when you talk to them, they're like, "Well, how much did you love your father? 250 words worth? 500?" I'm like, "Oh, I had a really good relationship. He's the best dad ever." Well, get out your checkbook. It was $1,300 for the Plain Dealer, and it was $200 for the Chronicle, which is in Lorain County. But
They also make you pay. I didn't know they make you pay.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is new. Jeremy, did you know they make you pay?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah.
yeah, well, you didn't have to pay because you won a writing contest when you were in fourth grade. So,
I didn't.
My dad hasn't died yet.
Just send a mass text message. Just like, hey, if you know someone that knew my dad, text them. Dad's dead. If you want to go to the wake, here it is.
And
It'll
then
be $100. You should have paid. You should have had admission.
Mm-hmm.
You should have been like charged to get in.
Charge to the wake.
Yeah, and it's a very difficult emotionally grueling process because there's so many things you have to deal with, And then another thing, my dad was 81, so he had a long life, and that works against you in the sympathy department because when the weird thing is when
I mean, my dad died. He was 59, so
yeah, and so people are like, oh man, that's so tragic. But like when you tell people, oh, my dad died, they're like, oh no, oh my God, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. How old was he? 81. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so he wasn't a useful dad. He was like 81. All right, so you want to go get some wings?
Yeah, so well, that's what we did. We went out and got some. I took you out for a couple beers afterwards.
Yeah,
So
like
that's-
I like to watch somebody get laid off after 20 years on a job, and they're like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" You had a good run. 20 years, you had a good
81
run.
years. Your dad had a good
Yeah.
run. He had a good run.
Yeah, so it's really difficult. And the other thing is,
What if you would have just said a few words? How much would like dad's dead, peace out?
yeah, my dad did.
Yeah.
My dad did.
That's what, $25?
Yeah, 25. Even that's a little steep. And then it was funny. Like I did the eulogy, and the
Did
family.
they charge you by the words
No.
at the church? Or they're just like, just counting that's one?
No, if I would have got paid by,
It's like when you're late to your Uber ride and they just see the time charging going up. Like, all right.
I've done some private gigs before, but I would have cleaned up if I would have got paid to do my dad's analogy. If I would have got paid by every time the priest raised his eyebrows and looked at his shoes. Because like everybody was saying it was a great speech, but we spent the whole time watching the priest to see how he reacted because
He could have cared less.
no, he was like he doesn't he's not used to people going up and doing a tight five.
Oh.
You know,
Did
people
he give
go,
you the light?
he just started he lit a candle. But I was doing jokes, like my first
Oh, okay.
my first joke was for those of you who don't know me, I'm a stand-up comedian. I make my living in nightclubs and bars and other venues of ill repute, so I have to hurry up and finish my remarks before I burst into flames.
All right.
And I did 5 minutes, and and I made everybody laugh because it was a sad enough,
Did you sell merch after the eulogy?
Yeah, I did.
Did you buy my download card? Join my Patreon. Patreon.com/Ray DeVito. I do 2 podcasts a week. One's a Patreon, one's free.
Jeff, do you have siblings?
Yes, I have 2 sisters.
So that's probably nice having somebody to share the responsibilities with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's funny though. Once they realize that you can pay for everything, they keep adding. Yeah, let's have let's have an extra wreath, or let's have this, or let's have the midget.
So let's put more words in that bitch. Suddenly, it's a
Yeah.
whole page in the Plain Dealer.
Let's have the midget playing the violins on the ponies come in, with a picture of dad, on their heads, whatever. But no, it's great because my sisters take care of my mom when she's, my sisters were there taking care of my dad every day. It was a really tough situation because my dad was diagnosed with leukemia, and 10
Hilarious.
Yeah, well, and
The funniest of diseases.
well, listen to this. 3 days after his diagnosis, he and my mom were involved.
Leukemia? He was a pretty good baseball player.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
named the
he could,
disease after him. That was him, right? It was
Yeah.
it was leukemia and Lou Gehrig. They
Yeah.
both got the diseases.
And so 3 days after his diagnosis.
Tommy John, just a surgery. I'm doing jokes here, baseball jokes. I didn't know.
Yeah, and they're gonna name a disease after you. It's a rayitis.
Yeah.
It's like every time when a podcast guest try to get a punchline in, you step on it.
That's
It's
what I
called
do.
You've stepped on so many punchlines. I need a good orthopedist right now. Is there a podiatrist in the area?
It's called Ray DeVitos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you weren't Dr. Scholl's when you step on my punchlines. That's why you're gelling like a felon.
I'll take it. That's a compliment.
But I am emboldened by Jeremy's laughter, so I will finish my damn joke.
Oh,
3 days after his diagnosis, my mom and he were involved in a horrible car accident. And so the moral of this story is be careful of what you wish for as a teenager. Because although heaven has a backlog of stupid prayers from dumbass kids, they'll catch up to them eventually.
Sure.
And the hardest thing about being a parent, I mean, if savings bonds took as long to mature as humans did, nobody would ever buy them. And when I was a kid, I had the parents that were like, okay, where are you going? Who are you going to be with? Who's driving you home? Is there going to be alcohol at that
my
party?
parents never cared about
Yeah,
yeah.
same. I cannot relate to this
My
at
parents
all.
were like, You're leaving, right?
My parents were like, who's going to be there? Is Ray going to be there? His parents aren't the chaperones, are they? You know, and I found out why. The reason why our parents didn't, well, most parents, okay, don't want anything to happen to us when we're younger is not just because they love us, but they want us to live long enough to realize they were right about everything.
Oh, all right.
You know?
The long con.
Yeah.
I get it.
But it's...
Jeremy, how do you feel about your parents?
We have a complicated relationship, me and my parents, but we're working through it now, I guess.
By the way, this feels like a confession booth because you're in the other room and there's a curtain closed so we can't see you.
Complicated. So how much money do you owe your parents for this studio equipment?
I wish that were true. Those two people are the cheapest motherfuckers I've ever met in my life.
I think they love you because these are nice monitors.
I honestly, growing up, I thought we were poor. Because they kept telling me that, like, we can't afford this or we can't buy this thing because we can't afford it. And it kind of worked out in my father's favor when he took me to go buy a car with him. Because the dealer slid the number over to him and he showed it to me and I started bawling my eyes out. I was like, we can't afford this car, Dad. We're too poor for this. And he got $2,000 knocked off of the car.
Wow.
But as it turns out, we're not poor at all. My parents are just the two cheapest people.
You just remind me of a great story about my dad. One Thanksgiving, I was like 10 or something, 8, 9 maybe. My parents decided they were going to go give food. We're going to spend like Thanksgiving delivering food to poor people. And so we made a delivery to a family in Cleveland someplace. And we went in, and when we dropped the food off, the family was gathered around their color television set. And we had a black and white one. And for every Thanksgiving for years, my dad, even though he was such a great, generous person, he's like, I can't believe they had a color
it's like,
TV.
Screw this.
And I'm taking them a butterball.
You should have went into their kitchen and started taking their food. Like, you know what? I'm taking your pudding packs. I'm taking your Weiler's Kool-Aid. Yeah, I'm thinking of Tang. Did they have Tang back in those days?
Yeah, they're just like, hey, they go, hey, we're watching this Disney movie. Put the butterball in the refrigerator for us, would you please?
Did you take their Steakums? Steakums was an 80s food. I'm thinking of all the... What else did they have in the 80s? All right, that's all I got.
Stouffer's? It's Stouffer's.
This was the 70s.
Yeah. Mamwits? We're taking your Mamwits.
Yeah.
Taking your Mamwits.
Mm-hmm. But I'm glad that I had so much time to spend with my dad during the pandemic. We'd watch Colbert together and comedy specials together and spent a lot of time with him. So,
did your father have an interest in comedy at all? Or?
Yeah, he loves stand-up comedy. And
well, did he like it because you weren't? Like my dad, the timing was all right. Like if one of my parents had to die first, selfishly, it was fine that it was my mom passed away first, because then I lived with my dad for the 3 years after that. My dad and I became best friends, and we weren't really that close when I was growing up. So like my dad and I became best friends, and so he took an interest in anything I did. And then he always used to say to me, he's like, hey, when I he's like, I promise your mother I always take care of you. I promise. And then when my dad died, my sisters took my inheritance and gave it to their children. So I didn't even get my inheritance. So that was... It's like, so I was not taken care of. I was not...
Yeah, but that's not on him.
No.
Well, the last thing that my dad saw, watched on his phone, because he had his phone with him in the nursing home and everything, and I had, Amazon on there, Netflix, HBO and stuff. But after a while, like in just a short span of like a couple of weeks, he lost all ability to hold it and to push buttons and stuff. So the last thing, I texted him a link to my second Dry Bar special, and I started it up for him, and he one of the last...
every view counts, man. Every view counts.
I know. I was like, that's another line I did at the that the priest didn't get.
You plugged your Dry
Yeah,
Bar?
I said one of the last things my dad watched was my special, which if you use the code Jeff Shaw, you can get 1 month off. And I go, if you think stand-up comedians are above shilling their new special at their dad's funeral, you haven't met enough comedians.
You said to promo your special. Hell yeah, like Anyways, let's all take out our cell phones right now.
Yeah.
Let's go to the let's go to the application. Download it from the app store. This will
Bow
only take
your
a
head
second.
into your phone.
Yeah, that's
Excuse me, priest. What's the Wi-Fi code here?
yeah.
What's the Wi-Fi at this church?
And my dad was like, I can't get the website. I'm like, all right, damn it, I'll give you a free copy of the special. So the theory is that watching my special is what killed him, but my mom was probably just needling me. But it was. Here's a fun. When I don't know if you knew this, but right as the pandemic started, here's my relationship with my parents. I wanted to be on America's Got Talent so that my parents could see me on that show, because I've done specials and stuff like that, and cable TV shows,
right.
and all that. Every show that's been canceled, I was on at one time. But so now I got a chance to do America's Got Talent, and my first Rybar special, Man Like Girly Man, came out in 19, and one of the producers saw it, and she called me up and she said, "We'd like to have you on the show. We think we saw your special, and we have one slot left, and we can't decide whether to give it to a male comic or a female comic. So you'd be perfect."
Yeah.
And
Because he sounds like a girl.
yeah, and a woman. Thank you very much. Don't you hear me roar? But so I wanted to do it, and then COVID messed up everything. They shortened the season. They cut a bunch of comics from it, and then also too, it would have been great. I would have went viral, but Sofia Vergara looked like an idiot because she misunderstood one of my jokes and she went off on me. And then what's his name? Simon Cowell buzzed me, and then like 3 months later, he broke his back in a bicycling accident.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but all my comedian friends like you were going, "Hey, did you think that was karma for buzzing you?" And I'm like, "Come on, I would never say that." What I will say though is that was the worst performance on a bicycle I have ever seen. But so I wanted so badly for my parents to see me, and I was just in for like 15 seconds, a little montage. So, but the funny thing is a year later, on the anniversary, I was taping my second special. I toured all over the country getting ready to go back to Ships, and then I got back to Ships and was doing better than before. And what I realized is my parents were more proud of how I handled losing my big break, my big dream that I worked for 35 years, becoming a theater act and being a household name and stuff, that was taken from me because of COVID and because of this and that. They were more proud of the way I handled it, and that I was still.
I'd be more proud of the way you could pull off that shirt you're wearing.
Thank you.
That is.
Well, if you could afford, if this were. If you look here, there's a 3D image if you look closely.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look really closely and concentrate, it just pops right off.
Yeah, it's weird. I see it. I have a lazy
it's a
eye.
middle finger to me.
Look at that. Isn't that cool?
No, that's
Wow.
cool. I like this.
Worth every penny.
But no, you handled it well.
Yeah, so they were. I realized that's the kind of parents I have. They felt like, they want to go down and beat Simon's ass. So it's not like I let down my dad was more proud of me of how I handled of having my that huge biggest disappointment in my career, and that how I bounced back from it than actually seeing me on the show.
How do you think your dad died of exhaustion of telling people, listen, my son is not transitioning.
Yeah.
He is a man. He's not transitioning.
Well, the funny thing is I got my voice from my dad. Like when people
Jeff's got a high voice, but he also has long hair. So like,
what we call the house, it's like. Like my dad answers, and they're like, they think it's my mom.
Yeah.
And when I answer,
and they don't know which way you're transitioning to. Is this a woman to a man, or is this like?
Well, my dad has the same voice. Like one time I was on stage on a ship, and this lady, hey, your voice is higher than mine. And this guy in the front row goes, well, no, that lady just roasted you. I go, that's no lady, that's my dad. but yeah, when people call the house, whether my mom's name is Paula, whether my dad answered the
People
phone.
are still not calling the house. Those days are over, right?
Oh, yeah, they just, because my mom lives there.
Oh, she still has a house phone.
Yeah. She's 75. She can't figure out a cell phone.
They're numbers, like 1 through 9 or 1 through 0.
The only reason...
There's 10 numbers to figure out.
The only reason she got a cell phone is one day she saw me sitting there enjoying some time off and decided I need him to drag me to AT&T for 4 hours to pick out a phone and then spend 2 days setting it up for me only so I can go, I don't know how you do that? Where's the button?
She really has a house phone still. I didn't know house phones were still a thing.
Yeah, but my parents would be dead by now with sitting there starving with nobody to look in on them if they depended only on a cell phone. I mean, my mom has had it for years. She still can't figure out how to turn it on.
It still didn't end well for your dad either, did it?
That's what, your dad was holding out on getting a cell phone.
Yeah,
That's
but
why
you know
he's
what?
never-
Every week I pick up his phone and I go to see if there's messages, and I put, hi, you've reached the cell phone for Tom Shaw. This is his son. I'm sad to let you know that my dad passed away. So please. Please
check out my dry spot.
Yeah, special
and,
promo code DAD,
Yeah.
DEADDAD, and but
I started a Venmo. You could pay for his obituary that I put in the plain dealer. You can Venmo me $5. That bought 3 letters.
Yeah, and I can mention you in the obituary. I'll give you a shout out.
Yeah, that's what we should have done. Like how rappers
Yeah.
used to do it in the album liners. Like shout out to all their
Beloved husband of Paula, loving father of Jeff, and
drinking buddy of John.
John's, yeah.
No, the VFW.
But I would put on there, so please call the house to talk to my mom or email me and leave a message. And
Please call my mom and talk to her so I don't have to.
Right, but
she's very lonely. She's got a lot of free time now.
But then the next week, it's like I put that on there, and people are like, "Hey, Dom, I'm just calling to see how you doing. Just want to see, hey, you want to go to, you want to go get a coffee, or what are you doing? How you know? I'll stop by the house, say hi. Like, what do I have to do? Hey."
Just play the what's that? Taps when someone dies from the military.
But people don't listen to outgoing messages.
That's a wedding song. What is the?
Ba-ba-da.
I think that's Great
remember.
American Hero.
Yeah.
Take a look at. No, that's your.
I think it's always, in my head. It just starts becoming Star Wars.
And then just a Death Star exploding. That's what happened to my dad. He was on the Death Star.
Was your Jeff? Was your dad a Kiss fan?
Well,
why are we bringing up Kiss?
well,
I'm just curious.
my
I got a curious mind, Raymond.
my
Let
mom
me roll.
My mom took me to my first Kiss concert. And I went to the first Kiss concert with my mom. I went to my second Kiss concert with my dad, and I went to my third Kiss concert with a drifter paid by my mom and dad. And
Don't talk about your sisters like that.
yeah. My dad was a fan of me, so they took me to Kiss concerts, Van Halen concerts, whatever, till I was old enough to drive. And that was why I got to drive so young. As soon as I was 16, I had the keys to the car because they're like, okay, now you can drive yourself to that BS, But no, my parents are the kind of parents, they did everything for us and took us to things. They didn't have to like it, That's why I have a joke. Although I'm not a fan of Fox News by any stretch, of course, but there's this trend of young adults, in their 20s, early 30s, where they're spending less time with their parents and their relatives, like not going to family functions because of the politics and religious views of their parents and older. And I'm like, get over it. I mean, you remember when you were 10 and your parents took you to see Britney Spears or Metallica? They weren't there because they wanted to be there. They were there because you wanted to be there.
You said this like I had this happen.
Yeah.
No, I only saw Frankie Valli because it turns out I like Frankie Valli. But my dad liked Frankie Valli.
Yeah, so
and Frankie Valli was great.
Right, but a lot of kids, they get taken to their first concert by their parents. So the least you could do is sit your ungrateful butt on the couch and watch Fox News with your parents.
Yeah, I think my first concert, I went in high school. I drove. It was a girl. We saw U2 at the old Richfield Coliseum.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, my parents loved me. They took me to Kiss.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing Joe Biden and the left wants you to be thinking about.
Yeah.
That's my Tucker Carlson impression. I think I nailed it.
What do you call it? The thing that killed Kiss is them taking off the makeup. Like they were just like a bunch of ugly dudes.
Yeah,
And
but
they
if
didn't,
did you see Paul Stanley in the 80s? He wore more makeup when he wasn't wearing makeup.
Oh,
Agreed.
really?
Yeah, but it was like
Agreed.
foundation.
I just remember they had that one song, "Heaven on Fire," which was on MTV.
Yeah, Heaven's on Fire.
Yeah, and like that was like their first. I did like that song. I Was Made for Loving You, and I like Back in the New York Groove, and I didn't even know that was their song.
Okay,
until
I need to
was-
take a second for the Kiss fans. Back in a Groove was Ace
Frehley,
Frehley's
when they did-
solo album, 1978. I Was Made for Loving You was track 3 on side A
Wow.
of Dynasty. And Heaven's on Fire was not the first album without the makeup. That was Lick It Up. That was the first single.
Lick
Heaven's
It
on
Up.
Fire was on Animalize.
Lick it up. Come on, even Def Leppard were better songs than that.
Here's what a big Kiss fan I am. For my
Pour some makeup on me.
For my 53rd birthday, my mom bought me a Bradford Exchange Kiss lamp. It came with the certificate of authentication. Yeah.
However we pronounce that word.
Yeah.
Authenticity.
Did you really win a writer's award
Yes,
when you were 8 years old?
I did.
That's a valid question. Valid question.
So, and then I was like, Mom, do you think the fact that this Kiss lamp is my most prized possession means I am emotionally stunted at 53? She said, no, sweetheart. All it means is you have good taste in music and you'll have a really nice piece of furniture should you ever move out and get a place of your own.
Oh, she wants you out. She wants you
Yeah.
out. I don't think she wants you out. Does she really?
No, that was actually a joke, meaning that I'm living at home.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but you took it seriously because you live with your sister.
No, I don't live with my sister.
Oh, you don't live with her
Nah,
anymore?
nah.
Oh, you moved out.
I only lived with her for like 5 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got out of there as soon as. It just wasn't ideal. I didn't like being. I mean, I never talked back, but I didn't like being talked down to. Like, and it, yeah. It's there's a lot of history that.
Did you ever
it's been
say,
covered.
do you know who I am? Do you know that I won a writing award in 4th grade?
Where's your award, Denise?
Denise
I don't-
Huxtable? My
Yeah.
sister's Denise Huxtable.
And she
I
was
don't
like,
know her name.
She
I
was
just went
like,
with the
oh
name."
yeah, I can one up with you. I have gainful employment.
No, she's not. My sisters.
Oh,
don't
she's
work.
not?
Neither of my sisters work. So
Really?
them talking down to me.
No,
is
her
like-
husband's.
Yeah, their husbands.
Oh,
Their
okay.
husbands do very well.
I was going to say, oh, you have other comedians in the family.
Yeah. I do want to say this. I hope, I don't know if this is true. I just saw on Twitter, I don't know if it's like people trolling, but apparently Chad Zumock was in a car accident. I hope he's okay. I just want to say that apparently he's in the hospital. I just saw this on Twitter. I hope he's all right. I want to say that.
Yeah, he ran into my parents. He's a very funny Cleveland comic living in Florida. I taped my second Dry-Bar special the same night as him. It came out. It's wonderful, so I hope he's okay.
Yeah. I hope he's okay. I hope that the other things I wanted to talk about is I've been watching, I guess, Casey Anthony. There's a show coming out about Casey Anthony. For those of you that don't know Casey Anthony, all I remember is in the 90s, was it? She killed her daughter. Well, so I thought she killed her daughter. I thought she was in jail for killing her daughter.
I thought this was recent. This was a recent case, not the 90s.
Oh, okay. Well, it's within the last like 15 years or something. Then it's been a while. She was in jail. She was in jail for 4 years. She's out now, but they're coming out with a docuseries about her.
Okay.
And I thought she killed her. I did know the story that her baby was dead. Her baby was dead. It was in a laundry bag. The remains of her baby or her toddler that was like 1 year old was dead. And I thought she killed it. I thought she killed her kid, and that's why she was in jail. And it's not until I saw the trailer for the docuseries. Apparently, she did not go to jail for killing her kid. Is her kid was found dead in a laundry bag and in Casey's house. Casey Anthony knew about it for 31 days, and then she called 911 and said, hey, I can't find my kid, even though the remains were in the... So she only went to jail for 3 years because she lied about all this stuff, but apparently she didn't kill her baby, which I did not know.
I thought it was tax evasion.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I know the name, and I remember watching it, but all I know is I'm very glad that you brought this up at the end of the podcast, because now it looks like talking about my deceased father as the lighthearted segment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his whole plan the whole time.
But I guess this docuseries, I guess it's coming on Peacock.
Are we allowed to Google on your show? Or
go ahead and
because
go ahead
this
and
is
Google
like
it.
a recent story. Casey Anthony is a recent story.
Yeah, so she was apparently everyone's like, oh, she killed her kid. I thought she killed her kid. No, well, now she's claiming that she does know that her dad killed the kid, but she went to jail for 3 years for just lying about everything. Yeah, Kaylee Anthony. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
So it's 2008. 2008. The kid disappeared, but then they found the kid was in her possession the whole time. How did she dodge this? By the way, Casey Anthony is not on Wikipedia. Like, there's not much you can find about her because so many people hated her guts because it just looks like she killed. Her baby was killed with someone administered chloroform and applied duct tape to the nose and mouth of the. I take it back. The kid was 3 years old. I have none of my facts right.
And didn't you call her Casey Anthony?
Yeah, her kid's name is Kaylee.
Oh, okay.
Casey's not, but now
Casey's the mother. All right.
Yeah, and now they're saying Casey's coming out this whole show saying it was her dad, that she knew it was her dad that killed the kid. So this is.
But one day
I'm gonna watch it.
But one day her father's gonna die of leukemia, and she's gonna feel very guilty.
Now the camera's been following her dad around like everywhere. So I mean, I'm interested. I brought this up thinking you might know more about this Casey Anthony thing. But isn't that insane? Because I always thought she's the one that killed her child. But I didn't know it's just she had a dead child in her possession for 30 days. And then she decided to call 911 and said, oh, my kid's missing. That's what she went to jail for. She said her kid was missing when she knew the kid was dead and it was in her possession for 30 days. And then she's like, oh, yeah, it turns out the remains were here the whole time. You got to go to jail for that. So they put her in jail she went to jail for 3 years for that. But she didn't kill the baby. Apparently, she didn't kill the baby because they didn't convict her of that. So it sounds like shouldn't have been raising a child anyways. So I'm not saying the child's better off not being here. That's insane to say. But sounds like she's like not the nicest woman, I'd say. Turns out there are worse. My parents are fine. I'm fine with. But turns out there's worse parents out there. It could be worse. That's all I'm saying. Jeremy, what do you think about your parents now? Huh? What do you got to bitch about?
I got to give them a call.
Yeah. They didn't chloroform you.
No. Though they probably passed through their mind.
I wouldn't even know where to get chloroform. Where do you get chloroform? How do you
Boston.
just go buy it?
Boston has it.
Boston has it?
Yeah,
The city of Boston?
I don't know where to get chloroform. I haven't dated in a while.
Where do you get chloroform? What is chloroform?
No, wait. Ether was invented in Boston, not chloroform. Sorry.
Ether was a Nas album. It's a diss track he did to Jay-Z. It was very good. And
All
then
right.
Jay-Z did the takeover.
I can tell you where to get Colorforms. Remember Colorforms?
Colorforms? Yeah, you could have got that from that house that had the color TV. You know they had Colorforms. They had a color TV. They had Colorforms.
I think Jeremy's too young to know what that was. You know what that is? The Colorforms?
No.
Like you had this. It was a box, and it had like a scene. Like say, like if you had like Spider-Man set, it was like maybe a street alley with a building, whatever. And then you would take the little
like pictures of houses and stuff. Like they were were they magnets?
Well, no, they were like sticky, like kind of like they would stick to it. So you had like Spider-Man in different positions, and you would have the villains, and you would make these little scenes.
Yeah, and then it wasn't that great of a toy. Now that I think back of it.
Are you really trying to like ruin my whole childhood for me in one podcast?
But like you think back to it, like it wasn't that big of a deal. They said the first big toy for kids was. They came out with G.I. Joe because of Vietnam and how everyone was like a lot of people didn't want to go into the military. They were anti going to the military.
I had Canada Ken.
What's that?
I had Canadian Ken instead of G.I. Joe.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Were your parents Canadian?
No.
No, I think I was making a joke about
draft dodgers going to Canada.
Oh, that's
but
right.
I just watched a documentary on toys, but that's why that started the first toys because they wanted kids in the 70s to be like, hey, to be proud to be in the U.S. U.S. Army. So that's why they started G.I. Joe. And then G.I. Joe was the first toy. And then the second toy was Lee Majors, the $6 Million Man. Like, that was the first, like, mega toy for kids. I guess, like, they were showing, like, you could, I never had one.
Yeah, it's the first one you can bend his arm and
you
stuff.
could, like, take his arm off and there was stuff inside his arm and things.
Well, you know the original premise for the $6 Million Man? They gave him a choice. We could either rebuild you completely and make you into a crime-fighting, super-powered robot, or we can take that $6 million and buy you an obituary listing for your dead dad.
You would have got like 2 pages for
Great
$6 million.
callback.
Yeah.
Killer callback.
This Jeff Shaw's pretty good, you guys. If your dad dies, plug his dry bar at the.
But for anybody, friends or relatives, whatever, my dad was the best dad ever, and I'm a comedian, so I'm dealing with my pain, not disrespecting my dad.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Everybody. Yeah, it's fine. Everybody get. And by the way, I love my parents. I do love my parents. You know what sucks? I wish they were alive. So, especially my mom, because she died young. That I can give her lovingly shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I would lovingly like to give her shit about.
I like to say one thing, like, I've been pretty functional. When a loved one passes, there is so much work to be done and so many arrangements to be made that you're really, like, focused. But my dad was retired from the Army Reserves. He was a master sergeant, so we had full military honors at the Great Western Reserve of Ohio Cemetery in Rittman, Ohio. And it was a military, and I was fine. I was fine with the wake. You were there at the wake,
yeah.
Thanks. And then we went and had some beers afterwards. So thank you very much for that. And then
we watch some CNN and talk shit about the military. We're like, finally, we get to hear some of this,
right? But so my dad was had a military service, and that's when I went nuts. That's what I mean. Not nuts, but when I broke down, because I was in the military with my dad. I was in from 1983 to 89. We were in the same reserve unit. I was starting a short-lived military career, but I used those skills as a comedian all the time, being organized and proactive and learning how to deal with people and be on schedule and all that.
You hear that, Jeremy? You should have joined the military, you son of a bitch. You would have been here on time.
Homeschooled.
Jeez.
Right. So, and when I was 17, my dad was like, I just joined a reserve unit. Why don't you join with me? We can go to drill together every month. It'll be our father-son activity. And I'm like, there's a batting cages down the street, right? Have you ever heard of go-karts? How about fishing? How about that?
How about we play laser tag?
Yeah,
Dad?
but we were in the same unit together. My dad, he said,
how about we toss a baseball around? You ever hear about that?
But he knew how to get me.
You want to coach my elementary school team? You coach t-ball. That's something we could do.
But when he told me that the Army would teach me how to be a man, he got me there because I wanted to be a tough guy when I was younger. The Army didn't teach me how to be a man. They taught me how to make my bed, iron my clothes, and polish my shoes.
Dude, my dad
everything my mother tried to teach me for 17 years. So now you know why women love a man in uniform. They know he can do chores.
You hear that, you sloppy son of a bitch, Jeremy?
Yep.
Jesus.
Homeschooled. You were lucky I was here at all.
Hey, Jeremy, I didn't bring up these issues so that he can rag on you, but I'm glad that somebody else is sharing my pain. So thank you, Jeremy.
My dad was
my emotional support technician.
I'm here for you, buddy.
My dad was drafted for Vietnam, and he would always talk about how scared he was, getting drafted for Vietnam. But he was so proud of the military. Like, my dad would always have an American. We always had an American flag in our house, like everywhere we lived. But here's why I think my dad also did that: is my dad was born on Flag Day.
Oh, wow.
So, he took it. I think that could. And then also my dad loved guns. He loved guns. Not that he liked so much like hunting, but he loved sharpshooting. He would always go to the range, and he was into rifles and shooting things far away, into sharpshooting. But then the only time I saw my dad with a gun in action is we would go to By the way, I texted Square. We're cool. I told him I'd be there. We'd be there by 8:15.
All right.
And my dad, we went camping because a friend of his had a cabin in Pennsylvania. So we all went, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, and we went to this cabin in Pennsylvania. And you got to turn the water on in the backyard, like, or in the behind the cabin. So it's night. We're there. You can't see anything, and there's a bear. There's a bear. My dad had a gun. They went to turn on the water. Him and his two brothers. And they went to go turn on the water, and then they heard a bear like, rah, and then my dad saw the bear and started running away while shooting at the bear. And my one uncle was like went to my Uncle Wiki, who passed away. My Uncle Wiki's the one that told me the story because I just saw him when he was on hospice a few months ago. And my Uncle David's like started running after my dad to follow my dad to get back in the cabin. And my Uncle Wiki, I was like, "What the hell are you doing?" He's just shooting behind him. He's going to fucking think you're the bear and shoot you, you idiot. So, they just stayed put while my dad was just shooting randomly at some bear. I don't know if he hit the bear or not, but my Uncle David's wife, my Aunt Maria, as soon as they got back, and she's just like, they left first thing in the morning. They were like, we're not staying.
Well, I hope you don't get canceled by the Ursane Association of America.
Yeah, I don't know if my dad shot the bear or not. But I know it scared the shit out of him. And apparently, and we were all in the cabin, and we just saw, when you shoot a gun, you could still see, the flames, I don't know what
they call it the report.
The report. Yeah, you were in the military. So we could see that, and we're like, what the hell's going on out there? So we're all scared. And my mom and my aunts are telling everyone, get down. I think they thought they had gotten a gunfight with some other people that were also staying at a cabin or something, and then we didn't know it was a bear. But nobody got hurt.
That's a great story.
And they turned the water on. So we got to, but my one aunt's like, I'm out of here. She immediately was like, this is not. So I don't know how handy my dad was with a gun. That's the only time I saw my dad in action with a gun, was almost accidentally shooting his brothers.
Can I end with a joke that showing how funny my dad was? He was. I actually got my sense of humor from him. And
so blame him?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and it's funny because when I met Emo Phillips in 1994, I said to him, I go, Emo, you're the reason I got into comedy. He said, oh, what a coincidence. You're the reason I'm getting out. But my dad and I were in the same unit. Like I said, that wasn't a joke. And he was the mess sergeant. And so we would
What's
go.
A mess sergeant?
In charge of all the food.
Oh, I'm going to say if someone makes a mess, he has to yell at them like, look at you filthy, look at you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Look at what you did.
But they call it the mess hall. That's where the food is served. And then out in the field, it's called the mess tent.
That doesn't sound very appetizing.
No, it's not. Come
join the military and you can eat here at this mess hall.
Yeah, but the food in the military is usually great because you got to keep people happy, Right. But so my dad was the mess sergeant, and we were in the back, what they call a deuce and a half, one of those big trucks, and we're going to live fire exercises. You have to qualify for your rifle marksmanship every year in the Army Reserve. So we go out to Perry, Ohio. And, on Friday evening, 5 o'clock after work, whatever, everybody's piling into the trucks, and there's a convoy out to Camp Perry. And it takes a couple hours because we're 40 miles per hour, And so everyone's hungry. Everybody came from work or school, college or whatever. And we're wearing our uniforms, of course, and so we had those big cargo pockets. And my dad and I are sitting there in the back, everyone's starving. We start pulling out all this stuff out of our cargo pants. We got snack pack puddings. We got Hickory Farm sausages.
Wow, look at you.
Diet
Like you
Coke.
have a color TV at home or something.
I know. Diet Coke, everything, Twizzlers. And one of my fellow soldiers said to my dad, Sergeant Shaw, you should know better. You're in the Army, Sergeant Shaw. You're supposed to learn how to live off the land. And he said, son, I know how to live off the land. It just so happens there are stores on that land.
There you go. Boom. To Sergeant Shaw.
Master Sergeant Shaw.
Master Sergeant
Yeah.
Shaw.
A great man.
I have one quick question before you go. Where were you in the lineup of siblings?
I'm the oldest child. So I have two younger sisters, which really bummed out my dad because he was hoping at least one of his kids would grow up to be a man.
Boom! Well, your sisters can still transition.
Yeah.
Lord knows you're not going to transition.
But no, I'm the oldest. I have 2 great sisters, great mom, great cousins, family. Everyone was very supportive. Military family. I've got cousins in the military. My nephew served. I'll end with this. We're allowed to swear.
I like how you're ending my podcast.
I know.
I'm the one
Yeah.
that fucking calls it quits.
Yeah, well, it's not my fault we're running out of time because your technician was late. Say, I wanted to be you for a second there.
Yeah, it's not great, is it?
I can't pull it off. I can't pull it
Fucking
off.
Jeremy Demery.
I can't pull it off.
This motherfucker. The shit I got to deal with, Jeff.
No, but
This is a mess hall. This is a mess hall right here. We're in a mess hall.
But see, I served during peacetime, so when people say, thank you for your service, I feel guilty because, like, I served in the reserves in peacetime in Ohio, in the suburbs, once a month, intoxicated. But their golden retrievers with red vests have been of more service to our country. But my nephew is a war hero. He served 2 tours of duty in Iraq. And
I thought he had a sandwich named after him.
Yeah, and when
He's got a war hero.
Yeah.
And they called it the war hero.
And when he came back, when he was discharged, he started to go to college on the GI Bill. And the night before his first day of class, he said, "Uncle
I
Jeff."
thought it was GI Joe. I bought the wrong toy.
He said, "Uncle Jeff."
There's a GI Bill out there.
He said, "Uncle Jeff."
Was that his gay marriage husband? The GI Bill and the GI Joe. I'm going to keep talking over this joke. I don't give a shit.
This is a war hero joke. So he said, "Uncle Jeff, I haven't got a car yet. Can you drive me to class tomorrow?" And I said, "Well, when I was your age and I didn't have access to a vehicle, I could navigate the entire public transit system without a map." And he said, "Oh, really, Uncle Jeff? Well, when you were my age, could you navigate the streets of Baghdad, steering your Humvee with one hand and firing your M16 out the window at rooftop snipers with the other?" I said, "No." And he said, "Well, then maybe you should shut the fuck up and drive me to class, Uncle Jeff."
Wow. This is
Jeffrey, the language.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, he's cursing.
So
like
I
this?
shut the fuck up and drove him to class.
Wow.
And then I went to Dunkin' Donuts without him, that medal-wearing prick.
Yeah. Sounds like a son of a bitch, this guy.
No, he's a great kid.
No, I'm kidding. How old is he now?
He's like 35. And
Does he have chest hair? Because Lord knows you didn't get any.
No.
You got no chest hair. We got to get some.
You don't either, Ray. You only have back hair.
No, I have chest. I trim it.
Yeah.
I trim it. I'm a hairy
And
bastard.
I shave every day because you don't want to see me try to grow a beard. I try to grow facial hair. I look like an Amish Sissy Spacek.
I think you're a handsome man.
Thank you.
Are you dating out there? Do you have a lady?
No. I was in a long distance relationship for 10 years. But my girlfriend, she was Croatian. She ghosted me. She didn't break up with me. She didn't say goodbye. She just disappeared like she was a waitress at Denny's and I asked for a refill on my coffee. Just out of there. She just,
Did you try contacting her?
Yeah, but it's
keep contacting her. See, that's
No, I'm not going to contact
no.
her.
Here's why you do it.
Why?
All right, that's a ghost is something that annoys you that you don't want to annoy you. So you just ghost her by keep contacting her.
It's more of a haunting, really.
Yeah, haunting.
So
yeah.
you are, you're the ghost. She doesn't ghost
Jeremy?
you. You give us her number. We will text her.
Okay.
She'll get 2 more ghosts tonight. Me and Jeremy. We'll just keep getting her ghost. She doesn't ghost you.
You haunt. Yeah, if somebody ghosts you, you
ghost
haunt
her.
them.
Yeah, I'm going to leave her a message. It
That's
goes,
great. I like that.
That's a
Somebody
joke that's on my special. by the way.
Is it?
I do that. Yeah, about Bumble Egg.
produced by Jeremy Demery.
Yeah,
That's
Jeremy
right.
was there when I did that. It's coming out soon. Yes, that's a joke that I did.
I hope you got the wording right in the special.
Yes.
He did. He nailed it. And I edited it for him to nail it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. All right, we're gonna get out of here. All right, where can people find you, Jeff? Say your stuff.
www.comedianjeffshaw.com.
Not a woman. I'm a man. JeffShaw.com.
And my second Dry Bar special, The High Voice of Reason, is available in clips on YouTube, but you can watch the whole special by subscribing to the Dry Bar Plus app, promo code Jeff Shaw.
I know. I saw it. I saw the posters you put up at your dad's wake. I know exactly how to subscribe to it. Jeremy, where can people find you, you son of a bitch? Not here on time. That's one place they will not find you.
You can find me out on the streets, motherfuckers. No, you go to Instagram at Jeremy_Demery.com. Jesus. Yeah, look me up on Instagram. I'm trying to up my Instagram followers.
Oh, are you really?
Yep.
Is that what you're trying? Is that the game?
I'm getting
get more?
I'm getting the Raymond bump. That's what I needed. Is I just
So
need
let me
that
ask you guys a
Raymond
question.
bump.
Have you ever had anybody like just take off the cans and walk off while it's still taping because they have to pee really bad? Has anybody ever done that?
Actually, no.
No,
You want to be the first?
Well, I'm 50. I turned 57 last week, so do I have permission to?
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead. It's all good. It's all good, and I will. I will close up with Jeremy.
You check me out on Twitter at Jeremy_Demery.
What? You can go ahead and go
All
to
right.
bat. So I'm gonna. What's your last tweet, Jeremy? What do you got? Give me some gold.
Hold on. Let me see what my last tweet was.
Give me some gold.
I
I
think
want something funny.
I had one from Halloween that says, "I don't think all these sexy nurses have anything to do with the medical field." That was the.
What has nothing to do with the medical field?
All these sexy nurses.
All right, Jeremy. I'm trying to give you a moment to shine. That's what you went to bat with? That's at your Halloween show?
Hold on. It was just from Halloween.
It's from Halloween?
Yeah.
That's what you're going with?
I don't have.
So you saw a sexy nurse at a bar and like, let me see your nursing degree, miss.
Oh, here's my last one. My Catholic guilt runs so deep that I repent when I make deviled eggs.
All right, what else? You gotta have something good in
When
there. Come on, you gotta have something good in there.
When punks come, do they make an oi face? Get it? Oi face?
When punks?
Yeah, when punks.
From punk, what else you got? You gotta give me something. Give me something with some heat.
I'm pretty sure the only reason I lived to see my 30s is to apologize for everything I did in my 20s. Boom! Yeah.
I'm giving. All right, you know what? I'm just gonna give you one of
Oh,
my.
hold on. Apparently, I give off a victim of divorce vibe. That one's pretty good.
You say that like you talk to people. You don't talk to people.
No, I don't talk to anybody.
All right, I'm gonna give you.
I talk to myself. I'm homeschooled, so I am very good at talking to myself.
All right, here you go. This is. You can just have this joke, Jeremy.
All right, you heard it here.
This is your joke.
If I blow up on this joke alone,
Have
you
it.
heard it. I got this documented that you said I could have it.
It's your joke. Ladies, we appreciate you sending us sexy pics the same way you appreciate getting flowers at work. We just want all our coworkers to see them. It's all your joke, buddy. All right. That's it. We're out of here. Peace. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Ray DeVito. Good night. All right. Good job.
That was